Hey, welcome. So you may be wondering, with all the crazy stuff going on, tariffs, all the stock market crash, everything that's happening, you may be wondering, what should I do about my 401k? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you some food for thought, and I'm going to just give you some considerations and some ways of thinking about what is going on right now. And it might be instructive in helping you think about what you should be doing with your 401k now. So if this is your first time seeing me, my name is Alex. I'm a financial planner and retirement specialist, and I help people just like you plan and prepare for retirement. So listen. Man, the last few days have been absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Unless you've been living under a rock, as you have probably heard, that the Trump tariffs went into place. I think they actually did go into place on this past Friday. I think it was. I don't keep up a lot. But anyway, they went in place, I think, this past Friday or Thursday or Friday. And we saw that the stock market reacted sharply. I mean, sharply. So if we go and look at the stock market, we see for the last over the last 5 days or so, it's been a negative 9% drop in the S&P 500 over the last 5 days, and over the last day or so, it was today was a 0.2% drop, and overall for the past month, it has been down about 12%. And since the beginning of the year, it is almost 14%, down 14%. So we are very close to what is called bear market territory. And what does bear market territory means? Bear market territory simply says that anytime there is a market downturn or correction that is 20% or more off the high in the market, that is considered a bear market. So we are definitely in some uncharted, strange territory. So let me just try to add a little perspective for what is going on right now. Okay, so the first thing was that the new administration came in with the idea of having a mandate of cutting what they call waste, fraud, and abuse. And so if anybody knows, the fastest way to have an impact on your bottom line, especially when it comes to companies and corporations, the fastest way to do that is to lay off people. And you guys may have experienced that sometime, some point in your life. Maybe you have gotten laid off because the company wanted to have better profit margins. They wanted to get maybe a better return for their shareholders, and employees are the people who wind up taking the burden or the brunt of the burden of being let go, in order that the company can have better quarterly profits or better year-end profits. And so stockholders are able to get a better return or a better stock dividend. So that's the fastest way to do it. And so with the new administration being led by a bunch of multi-millionaires and billionaires, more than any other administration in history, there are more multi-high, ultra net worth people in the administration who is running the administration. Okay? And so they came in with the same idea that they use in corporate America. Let's just come in and cut people. And unfortunately, Musk Elon Musk came in and started doing it indiscriminately, not understanding uh, what someone's job, role, responsibility, or function is, and how overall, what effect that's going to have on the overall functioning of the government and the services that uh, that particular agency provides. So I really believe it is personally, my personal belief is by design. They want to be able to come in and any number of things. Either they want to be able to look for enough money to continue the Trump tax cuts from 2017, or they want to be able to reduce federal government to the point where they are able to privatize it, and they can have people like Elon Musk and his tech bros come in and be able to privatize it and take over some of those government functions. In any case, to be quite honest, none of us really knows what their plan is, what their strategy is. We don't even know if they know what their plan and strategy is. So the question then becomes, given all of this uncertainty and the effect that these things have on the stock market, what should you do about your 401k? And that's a fair question. And so I am a financial planner. I am not your financial planner. So the information I'm sharing with you is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research, or you can contact me directly and we can talk about what some of your options are. But what I would say to anyone who has their money sitting in a 401k, an IRA, a SEP IRA, a 403B, a TSP, or a 457, these are all employer-sponsored retirement programs, right? If you have your money sitting in any one of these things, a Roth IRA, to be quite honest, I would just tell you, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I know that sounds crazy, right? Given the stock market is up and down, don't worry about it, okay? And here's why. Here's why. Right now, wherever your money is, if you were up in your 401k before all this craziness started, if you were up in your portfolio balances, right? Then quite honestly, those were all gains, meaning your money went into the stock market at a lower price, and for however long you have been in the stock market and your portfolio has been growing, it's grown to that place wherever it is, wherever the stock market highs were for you. Okay, so if now things are dropping off and things are looking crazy, and if you go in and sell right now, okay, the only thing that you are doing is you're locking in your losses. You're just realizing the losses that you have in your stock market. Now, those would be losses. You might have losses from the highs of where it was, but overall, you still may be higher than where your money was invested at. So you're still realizing a gain. So we have to kind of shift our way of thinking. A lot of times we look at it and say, "Oh, well, this was my balance. This is my balance before, and so if I sell now, I'm taking a loss." No, your loss isn't based on the high at where it was. Your loss or gain is based on where you invested at and where you sold that particular stock. And so if your stock was again bought at a lower price and you sold it at a higher price, you still had a gain. Okay? So so I want us to shift our thinking from looking at, well, my balance was this and now is lower. Okay, that may very well be true. But the truth of the matter is your money was invested at a lower price, most likely, And if you sell now, you're gonna be locking in a gain, not a loss. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to share with you. I want to help you kind of change your perspective and your way of looking at this. Okay, so that would be number one. The second thing, number two, is you have to look at where you are currently in terms of your retirement. This is money that has been set aside for the purpose of you retiring, correct? So if you are still more than 10 years away from retirement, why are you worrying about selling, buying or selling, locking in losses or gains right now? You're still 10 years plus away from your time of retiring. So don't worry about it right now, right? The thing that we do know, the thing that we do know, the stock market will be down about 30% of the time. So if you look back in history from the S&P 500 since 1957, out of 10 years, those 10 years are going to be down. Those 3 years, three of those 10 years are going to be down years. Okay? 7 of those 10 years will be positive years. Okay? So if you look at it and say that going forward, you're going to have there's a 30% chance that your stock portfolio will be down in any given year. I think is a smart way to look at it. But again, if you are still 10 years away from retiring, don't worry about it right now. All right. Now, however, here is what I would suggest going forward. Going forward, if you are if you're putting money in a 401k, a 403b, a 457, or a TSP, and if your employer matches your contribution, I would put no more than how much they match. So if your employer says we will match dollar for dollar, or we will match 50% of whatever you put in up to a certain amount, what I would do is I would make sure that I put in up to whatever that amount is. If it is 5%, I would make sure that I'm contributing 5% of my salary into the 401k and not a penny more. Here's why. You want to make sure that you're getting that you're putting up to the match, because they are going to match the contribution that you make. So that's free money. Okay? It's free money. So you don't want to leave any free money on the table. All right? So that's number one. So the next point is I would not contribute to my 401k above the match. So you would say, Alex, well, what should you do? Here's why. Here's why I would not contribute to a Roth IRA either. The reason being is if you are going forward, okay, you want to position yourself such that if the market goes absolutely bonkers and crazy over the next however many years, you want to reduce your exposure to the market volatility and potentially market loss. Okay? And so the only way that you can do that is if you begin to scale back the amount of money that you're putting into those funds, that the 401ks, your 403bs, you want to start scaling your money back. You already have enough funds that are exposed to the market, exposed to volatility, to say, hey, I want to start putting my money in safer places where my money will continue to grow for me without the risk of losing money. So now, let me share with you. That is, again, not a 401k, a 403b, or 457, any of those employer sponsored plans. You can't put it in you can't put it in a SEP IRA. You can't put it in a Roth IRA. These are all, again, funds where the money is invested in the stock market. So now you have to consider other ways to grow your money. Might I suggest something called an IUL, an Index Universal Life Insurance Policy. You may have heard people talking about it lately. Why am I recommending that? I'm recommending an IUL because the monies that you put into an IUL, they grow, number one, tax-free. The money in your 401k does not. You're still going to have to pay taxes on your 401k money. So you want to make sure that you start putting money in other buckets that are not taxable. Your Index Universal Life Insurance Policy is the first way to do that, okay? Because it's tax-free. The second reason is your IUL grows based on the stock market. You get stock market returns without the risk of losing money or losing your principal. So while the stock market is going up and down, sideways, and just absolutely crazy, all the money that I've put into my Index Universal Life Insurance Policy, that money is safe. That money is locked away. As the stock market went up and went up and went up, the value, my cash value inside the IUL kept going up, up and up and up as well. But every time there was a market correction, every time there's a market dip, every time there's a market, anything that's going on that tanks the market, that has it going down, I didn't experience any losses. Okay, that is the power of having an Index Universal Life Insurance Policy, because it grows based on the results of the stock market, but you never experience any of the losses. What are the other benefits? Some of the additional benefits besides growing tax-free is that I'm able to turn on what's called lifetime benefits. So I am able to get a guaranteed income in retirement, supplemental income in retirement that never runs out. That is very different from 401k and IRAs. If you have talked with financial advisors, what they are going to recommend is in retirement that you only take out 4%, no more than 4% of your retirement balance. And that's in order to to hopefully have your money last throughout your entire retirement and never run out. Well, with an IUL, an Index Universal Life Insurance Policy, if I take on what's called lifetime benefits in retirement, distribution in retirement, they're going to keep paying me the same amount regardless for the rest of my life or as long as I live. So it becomes a private pension for me and for my family. Your 401k, your 403b, your IRA, your Roth IRA does not afford you the same luxury or the same benefits, okay? That's all considered non-guaranteed income for retirement. Whereas with my Index Universal Life Insurance Policy, it is guaranteed income for retirement. So overall, what am I saying? If you have money sitting in your 401k, first of all, if you're not, going to be retiring in the next 10 years, I would say go to bed. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. You don't want to lock in what you would consider to be losses. As I explained in the video earlier, you're not really experiencing a loss. If your money went into the 401k at a lower price and you are now selling it at a higher price, guess what? You didn't have a loss, you had a gain, okay? So I need you to reframe your thinking about your 401k. So that's number one. Number two, if you are not within 10 years of retiring, guess what? Don't worry about it. It's going to come back. I don't know how much. I don't know when. It's going to come back. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you have most of your money sitting in a 401k, a 403b, 457, or any of these other investment or equity accounts sitting in the stock market, I would encourage you to start putting more money into an index universal life insurance policy, because that money grows tax-free. That money, all the funds that you put in there are based on stock market returns, but you're never at risk of losing a dime. And in addition to that, you're able to turn on what's called lifetime benefits that you're able to get in retirement that never runs out. Okay? So that's what I have to say about it, guys. Again, I know these are really uncertain and worrying times. I would tell you, don't worry as much. I will say, be strategic and be smart about what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you're not talking with a financial planner, I would encourage you to speak to someone who can help you look at all of the different options that you have, and someone who can help you kind of figure out, what's my tax liability for the money in my 401k. Is my, what's the volatility index or the VIX index associated with my 401k portfolio? What are some things that I can do to lower the risk in my portfolio? How can I begin to rebalance and reshift? Are there some other asset classes that I should consider right now? Someone, a financial planner, someone like myself, can help you reason through and look at all your options to help you figure out those things. And so, if you don't have someone, I would encourage you to click the link above or below or somewhere, or go into the description and schedule a no risk consultation. I would love to help you through this process. In any case, guys, I just simply say, again, don't worry. Okay, don't worry. I'm not going to tell you it's only money, because that's a lie. It is important, but what I would say is, be smart, be strategic, talk with someone, get some advice to help you figure out and look at what your options are if you're unsure what those are. Okay, so if you have any questions, please feel free to comment below, and I would love to hear your questions or comments. All right. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.